I want Canada. I want Canada. And I'm going to have Canada. Oh, when I become emperor, it's not going to be like day one. I don't know when exactly. Probably within the first year is a safe bet. Within the first year, I'm invading Canada and I'm annexing it. I'm annexing all of Canada. Yeah. Yeah. It's just going to be mine. So as emperor, I would expand the American Empire. Yeah. I guess I have a question to ask. The Canadian military, which I mean, what Canadian military? Bro, the the civilians of the states that border Canada could conquer Canada. I'm not going to send civilians. No promise. I'm not. I won't send civilians to conquer Canada. As funny as that would be, as like, can you just imagine think about the aura I would have when the historians write that shit about me. Like, the emperor, busy with other things, sent a bunch of fucking American civilians to go conquer Canada. That would be aura. I'd be remembered as a glorious emperor for that. Regardless, my question to the Canadian military is, would you resist me? Like, genuine question for the Canadian military personnel. Like, I know your higher ups might tell you to resist me, but let me ask you, is it worth resisting me? What exactly are you resisting me for? To keep Canada's sovereignty? To save the Canadian nation? I mean, you're being invaded by Indians. Your economy is in the shitter. Like, I know America's economy is bad. But if you're American, trust me, you don't know the half of it. Our allies, like Canada and all the other Western Hemisphere countries, they're suffering a lot more. You know why? Because they're not the um, global financial currency. Okay, the reason we're not getting hit as hard as other places is because the world uses the American dollar. That's the only reason. If we weren't the global currency, we'd be fucked. We'd be hurting probably more than our allies, honestly. Regardless, okay, your economy's in the shitter. Again, your identity is being lost. When you get out of military service, what are you going to see exactly? You're gonna go to Ontario. Jeets everywhere. They're just everywhere. You go to your local Tim's Hortons. Hello, sir. What can I get for you today? You know, you have a strange feeling like on your neck feels sore, whatever, right? Whatever, it doesn't really matter. But you go in to get checked out with your country's free healthcare. Oh, wait a minute. It's not life threatening immediately. Get back with, the hospital in like 2 years, buddy. Like, your fucking free healthcare is fucked because of the Indians. Like, so what would you resist me for? Like, you gain nothing, and you would still lose. So you would resist me for a nation that is dying, for your people that are being replaced. And by the way, when I say Canadians, if you didn't know, I'm talking about the white Canadians. I know you guys have this whole bullshit with your native problem. I don't know. Apparently, you motherfuckers also have natives like America. I don't give a fuck about the natives, okay? They can stay for the most part, you know. For the most part, they can stay. But the Indians, every. Quote me when I say this, okay? Every single Indian, I don't care how long you've been in Canada, all of you, all of you will be sent back to India. But sir, I've been Canadian for 3 generations. you're going back to India. Okay? So again, I would save your fucking country, right? I mean, it wouldn't be yours anymore, right? You would become a part of the American Empire. But I mean, what do you prefer? You know, what do you prefer? Getting overtaken by the fucking Indians, or just becoming a part of the American Empire? And I wouldn't make Canada just one really big state. That's retarded. I would split it up into five, maybe 10 states, depending on like how. I don't know. I'll leave that up to someone else. I don't know. I'll leave it up to Canadian nationalists, right? And they can draw up a line of like the Canadian states, right? That will, become a part of the American Empire. But it's like, because you failed. You failed. Okay? You didn't revolt against your leaders to keep Canada Canadian. You're letting these Indians constantly come into your country. The truckers, like, I remember, I think it was during COVID, the truckers had their fucking banks frozen and they were just getting dogpiled on. And you didn't support the truckers. You guys didn't use that event to just spark the continuous revolution. You guys have failed, right? The only reason I would expand up north to make Canada a part of the American Empire is because it would look so much better on a map, right? Like when you're looking at North America, you're just looking at America. You're just looking at America. And I know technically then I'd also have to take a little bit, further into Mexico, I believe. But I'm not gonna expand down south. I want to keep America white. Okay, I want to keep America white, which is again a bit ironic. I know I'm not white, but I want to keep America white. I get it. Trust me, brother. I understand. Regardless, so yeah, that's the question for the military and for the I don't even really want to speak to the Canadian people, the Canadian nationalists. Here's the thing. I wouldn't even push American propaganda into the Canadian states, right? It would be up to you. So this would be my offer to the Canadian nationalists, right? If you can endure 20 years, well, see, here's the thing. I don't know if I'll be emperor that long, so I don't know if I could make that promise. Because then I don't know if, like, the future people who have the power would upheld my deal, my offer that I'm making to you now. So then I guess you would have to revolt against the American military. Regardless, but I would make you this offer as emperor. If you could keep your Canadian identity without being overtaken by the American identity for 20 years, 2 decades, I will restore Canada's full borders as it is, before I expand and take Canada. Well, it's going to be a bit straighter line because it's a bit fucking ridiculous how it's like, it's going to be much straighter, and we're the ones taking a few, extra kilometers of land. Regardless, it's the border isn't changing much. Okay, it's really not changing much. If you can endure American ideology for 2 decades, I would restore Canada as a nation. But here's the thing. American citizens will be going upwards. They will be spreading American culture. I'm not even going to enforce the fact that the Canadian citizens will have to, accept American culture, American ideologies. You don't have to. But if overall Canadian culture declines in those 2 decades and it's not around by the end of it, you will be officially a part of the American Empire. And again, I wouldn't force it upon you guys to like change, right? And be eating the American cheese and all the other shit that's American, celebrating 4th of July and everything else, it would just kind of happen. So that's why I'm telling you, if you can show me that you can resist the culture of the greatest nation for 2 decades and still, let Canadian traditions, Canadian culture live and thrive, I will respect your will to survive as a people, and I will restore Canada. If you can survive 2 decades. So that's my offer. That's my deal to the Canadian nationalists. Right? Endure and you will be rewarded. Or I guess you can revolt on your own, right? Like you see me become emperor, and that inspires the Canadian nationalists to revolt and establish an emperor of their own. In which case, then, if Canada does that, I'll have to see. I'll have to judge their emperor, and if I find him to not be adequate, yeah, I'm invading Canada still. If he doesn't immediately start getting rid of all the Indians, and by the way, I'm never using the term she, because I'm using the word emperor, which implies a male. Okay, if I wanted to believe you would be led by a woman, then I'd say empress. But here's the thing: any nation that's led by a woman is not in my favor. Now, look, I love Japan. And look, I'm sure that lady is nice. I'm sure she's smart and intelligent. But look, lady, women don't belong in politics. Okay, sorry. So yeah, and Mexico too. But Mexico is a different conversation. Japan's a different conversation. That's a different video for a different day. I'll address them. I will talk about them. Right, seeing as I want to become emperor, will I restore Japan's emperor? I don't know. Regardless, so if Canadians actually did revolt after we the people revolted and established me as emperor, again I'd have to judge him based on his actions, and if I deemed him worthy of like a competent emperor, then I wouldn't invade Canada, and I would negotiate with them and build further relations, right? But Canada would have their sovereignty. But that's if they actually revolt, if they actually establish a competent emperor. If they're not a competent emperor, well then, welcome to America. Yeah, I asked the military. I mean, would you resist me? I mean, again, what are you resisting for? Like, what propaganda could the higher ups, right, your generals, even use to try to convince you to go out to resist the American military? Like, you gotta stand for Canadian ideals, for our culture. And then you would turn around to your general's face and be like, sir, there's an Indian bringing us your DoorDash order right now, sir. Like, bro, like, there would be no reason to resist me just taking Canada. And I know this is kind of giving off rapey vibes, like, it's kind of sounding bad even just saying it. But, like, again, don't resist me, bro. Like, let me just put But, like, seriously, let me just take your land, okay? I will remove the Indians. I will remove... Does America... Oh, Canada does have blacks, because that's where Drake's from. Although Drake's half... he's one of them. So... But they do have a black problem, don't they? Tell you what, and also get rid of your black problem. I mean, I just keep stacking the deal. I just keep making my offer sound better and better. Again, the only thing you as the Canadian people would have to do is show your pride and remain Canadian for 2 decades, 20 years, and I would reestablish Canada if I mean if I was still emperor, and if the future people in power acknowledged my offer. If they didn't, well then I'm sorry, because you would then have to rebel against the largest military, and there'd be more bloodshed. So sorry about that. If they don't honor my deal, offer, whatever. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm not asking the American people. What do you, the American people, think? Would I have aura if I took Canada? That's not the right question. Okay, let me be serious. Would you want me to take Canada, right? Like, and I know immediately you're going to say no, but just think about it, right? They have a lot of good industries that we have to pay for. And if we just conquered them and took those industries would then be boosting our economy. And since I'm getting rid of a lot of the Indians, that's more houses available. Now, of course, a lot of you wouldn't be used to the cold. I think I said cold. Sorry. A lot of you wouldn't be used to those temperatures, but cheap houses, right? Cheap houses. And by the way, just for the record, so we're clear, as emperor, I would establish free healthcare. Free healthcare. Kind of a nuke drop at the end of a video about how I'll conquer Canada and Canada will be mine. But yeah, I am a capitalist socialist. So there should be socialist programs inside of a capitalist system, right? And I believe healthcare to be one of them. And before any retard says, "Oh, we couldn't fund it," bro, if we stop the corruption and the fraud, we could absolutely fund a free healthcare, especially after I get rid of the ends in America and I get rid of the illegals in America. Then all of the healthcare costs would actually be for Americans. So absolutely we could afford it. Okay? I'm not a pure socialist, absolutely not. I am a capitalist, but capitalism should have aspects of socialism. But overall, I am a capitalist. Anyways, so yeah, that's that truth nuke dropped midway through, or very late in this Canadian video. Canada will be mine and free healthcare. I mean, what's not to love? And again, I gave you the best offer possible. I'm getting rid of the blacks and the Indians. I mean, like, who else is doing that? And of course, you would be granted the benefits of the U.S. Constitution. So you would be able to say that you don't like, certain groups of people without fearing of going to jail for hate speech. Like, you don't get much better than that. So, again, I don't know. But, all of this, of course, is dependent on me actually becoming emperor. And if I don't become emperor, well, then the emperor who does, or the person who does get power, will they want to take Canada? No, probably not. But they probably won't. They probably wouldn't even have as much aura as me, to be fair. You know what I mean? Like, they're probably mid. I'm joking, bro. I'm joking. It's not all about aura, but it is important to think about how you'll be remembered, and the actions you take, how they'll be noted by the historians. And since I brought them up, I'm gonna talk about historians a little bit more. For all of the current modern historians, at least in America. So if you're in other nations, I don't give a fuck, because you're of a foreign nation. I don't care. But as well as if you're in Canada, because again, I'm gonna take Canada. If you lie about me, I will bring back the Catherine wheel and put all of you historians who have slandered me onto it, and I will personally have you displayed on the White House lawn for lying about me. Now, if you're writing in truth, you have nothing to fear. Because the truth always wins, right? No problem. You can say I'm a harsh emperor, I'm a cruel emperor, fine. But you start lying about me, You start taking things out of context, buddy, you're going on the wheel. And we will leave you alive. You will be in pain and in agony for hours or however long you live. You won't receive any medical treatment. You will be left there to die on the White House lawn. Because if you want to lie about the emperor, let me give your brothers and sisters, your fellow historians, something to truly write about. And by the way, I mean that. So you can quote me on that. I mean that wholeheartedly. If any historian is writing, present actions and they're exaggerating them or lying about me, yeah, yeah, your punishment will be the Catherine wheel. You're not going in the box. You're not going to be, immediately unalived. No, you're going to be tortured.